Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican queen, Miss Y. You are tuned into How I See It TV, and this is Accurate Context Live. Let me know if you guys are hearing me in the chat. You can drop a 1, or my emoji of choice is the eyeballs. So you can drop those in the comments so I know that I am coming through loud and clear. Hello, Braylon Lee. Thank you so much for letting me know that you are hearing me. How is everyone doing? How was your Tuesday? Mine was super busy, but I had to do this video. I was going to do it pre-recorded, but I was too tired to do a whole bunch of editing when I could just go live, right? So as many of you already know, it was reported last night. The first place I saw this was on Anna Grace's channel. And now it's been confirmed by Alabama news outlets and some other blogs that on May 2nd, 2024, Martel Holt was convicted in Madison County courts of DV in the 3rd degree harassing communications. Let me read, for those of you who might not have heard the news, let me read the article real quick. I'm looking at Urban Bell magazine, and they are reporting that Love and Marriage Huntsville star Martel Holt was convicted earlier this month for his charge of DV, harassing communications, against his ex-wife Melody Cherie Rogers. According to court documents exclusively obtained by Urban Bell, Martel was convicted on May 2nd, given a 30-day suspended jail sentence, 12 months of supervised probation, and fined over $500. He is also required to not have any contact with Melody. Martel subsequently appealed the ruling and is out on bond pending the appeal. There are several reasons why he could be appealing his conviction, and additionally, also his probation stipulations may or may not be as strict or as severe as we are probably assuming at this time. So I wanted to do this video to discuss what his conviction could potentially mean, and also discuss why he might be appealing his conviction. So I did some research and I reached out to some friends that I have in law enforcement to help me with information for this video. I really wanted them to come on and, help me to do the video, talk with y'all live, but they didn't want to do it. But they gave me as much information as they could, given that they are not in law enforcement in Alabama, but they still managed to obtain some information which they felt would help me in coming to you guys with this research. So hello, Miss Linda, how are you? And hello to everyone listening who's not in the chat. Thank you for joining me. So probation can look different for different people, but generally it involves certain conditions and restrictions that a person must follow after being convicted of a crime. It's important to note that with this conviction, it will be on Martel's permanent record. Because even with a suspended sentence and probation, a conviction typically results in a permanent record being created. Now, if you don't know, a permanent record refers to the permanent documentation of the conviction in a person's criminal record. This record is maintained by law enforcement agencies, courts, and other relevant authorities. Having a permanent record means that the conviction will be accessible in background checks conducted by employers, education institutions, and other entities authorized to access criminal records. It can have long-term consequences for employment opportunities, housing applications, professional licensing. Shout out to the builder's license that he has not yet obtained. I digress. And various other areas of life. However, it is worth noting that the specifics of how a conviction appears on a person's record can vary depending on the jurisdiction and the nature of the offense. In some cases, individuals may be eligible for certain forms of record sealing or expungement, which can limit the accessibility of the conviction under certain circumstances. The eligibility and process for record sealing or expungement also varies by jurisdiction and the specific laws in place. So what my friend told me is that they're not really sure at this point what Alabama's law is in terms of him being able to seal this particular record, but maybe this is why he is trying to appeal. As it relates to his probation, it is stated that he is under monitored probation, right? And that's what the Alabama Fox News article said. So I'm not alleging anything. This is what is being reported in the news media. So monitored probation, also known as supervised probation, is a type of probation where an individual is placed under the supervision and monitoring of a probation officer or probation department. It is a form of community supervision that is imposed as an alternative to incarceration for individuals who have been convicted of a crime. During monitored probation, the individual is required to adhere to certain conditions and restrictions set by the court. These conditions may include regular check-ins with the probation officer, participation in counseling or treatment programs. So let's say that this is what his probation, his supervised probation entails. That psych eval that he's been running from allegedly, well, he probably won't be able to run from it anymore, right? So participation in counseling or treatment programs, drug testing, community service, curfews, and restrictions on travel or association with certain individuals, i.e. his brother, in my opinion, who wasn't his brother in jail or in jail? The probation officer plays a crucial role in monitoring the individual's compliance with these conditions. They may conduct regular meetings with the individual to assess their progress, provide guidance, and address any issues or concerns that may arise. The probation officer may also communicate with other individuals or agencies involved in the individual's rehabilitation, such as treatment providers or employers. The purpose of monitored probation is to provide guidance, support, and supervision to individuals who have been convicted of a crime. It aims to promote rehabilitation, reduce the risk of reoffending, and facilitate the individual's successful reintegration into society. Violation of the conditions of monitored probation can result in consequences such as additional penalties, increased supervision, or even revocation of the probation, which means that in turn he will be put in prison, depending on the severity of the violation and the discretion of the court. Now, some common conditions and restrictions that a person on probation must follow includes: one, regular check-ins. The person is required to meet regularly with a probation officer who monitors their progress and compliance with probation terms. Two, community service. They may be required to complete a certain number of hours of community service as a way to give back to the community. And as I said earlier, I don't know if the these are the things that are included in his probation or whatever, but these are some of the common conditions, right? Number three, drug and alcohol testing. Depending on the circumstances of the conviction, they may be required to undergo regular drug and alcohol testing to ensure sobriety. Four, counseling or treatment programs. They may be required to attend counseling or rehabilitation programs to address issues such as substance abuse, anger management, or mental health. Five, employment or education. They may be required to maintain employment or pursue education as a condition of probation. Six, restraining orders. They may be prohibited from contacting certain individuals, especially victims of the crime they were convicted of. And as we know, there is a no contact order. He is not allowed to contact Melody under his conviction. Seven, travel restrictions. They may be restricted from leaving a specific geographical area without permission from their probation officer. So let's say he is allowed to attend the reunion and the reunion is being shot in New York or LA. He probably won't be able to go if his PO doesn't give him the okay, which hopefully, if that's the case, he does not get the okay to go. Eight, a curfew. They may be required to adhere to a specific curfew, especially if they are considered a higher risk. Nine, prohibited activities. They may be prohibited from engaging in certain activities, such as owning firearms or associating with known criminals. And finally, 10, regular reporting. They may be required to regularly report to their probation officer, providing updates on their activities, employment, and any changes in personal circumstances. Now, even if someone has publicly admitted guilt, and we have seen Martel on several occasions admit that he did send Melody that threat, and attached to his text message was an image from the intimate video that they created while they were married. So what my friend said was, even if someone has publicly admitted guilt and has been convicted of a crime by a judge, there could still be reasons why they would choose to appeal the decision and request a jury trial. Now, here are a few possible explanations. Follow me. I know I'm talking fast. I know my accent is thick, but if y'all are following and understanding, make sure that you're liking this video and drop an eyeball in the chat if you are following, okay? So here are the explanations. Number one, and these are the reasons why Martel could possibly be appealing his conviction. One, review of the legal process. By appealing the decision and requesting a jury trial, the individual may hope to have a thorough review of the legal process. They might believe that certain aspects of the trial were not conducted fairly or that their rights were violated. A jury trial provides an opportunity to present their case to a group of individuals who can assess the evidence and the legal proceedings with a fresh perspective. Two, a desire for a different outcome. And obviously, he wants a different outcome. So, even if someone has admitted guilt, they may still hope for a more favorable outcome through a jury trial. They might believe that a jury could be more sympathetic or lenient in their sentencing decision compared to a judge. They may also have new evidence, which I doubt he could even have, or arguments that they believe could change the outcome in their favor. Three, legal strategy. Hi, 41 Fit. Three, legal strategy. The decision to appeal and request a jury trial could be part of a larger legal strategy. The person's legal counsel might have advised them to take this route in order to explore all available options and maximize their chances of achieving a favorable outcome. It could be a tactical decision aimed at creating opportunities for a reduced sentence or a different resolution to the case. Four, public perception and reputation. The individual may be concerned about the impact of the conviction on their public image and reputation. By going through the appeals process and requesting a jury trial, they might hope to demonstrate their commitment to fighting the charges and seek a more favorable public perception, even if they have already admitted guilt. And that sounds right on brand for Mr. Holt, right? Five, precedent setting or legal clarification. Now, in some cases, individuals may appeal their conviction and request a jury trial as a means to challenge an existing legal interpretation or establish a precedent. Now, I've said in other videos that in the state of Alabama, it is illegal to threaten the release of intimate images and videos. It is illegal to do so. So he might believe that his case raises important legal questions that should be decided by a jury. And he is willing to pursue the appeals process to bring about a broader impact on the legal system. Now, it is important, and this is my disclaimer, y'all. It is important to note that every case is unique. So please go consult an attorney. I am not a lawyer. I just read a lot and I research a lot and I can put my thoughts together well. Unfortunately for me, I know people who work in different places that can help me put these types of videos together. Now, in a jury trial for DV in the third degree, harassing communications, and a threat to release revenge P, both the defendant and the prosecutor may choose to call witnesses to testify. The decision to call witnesses depends on the strategy and the discretion of each party. Now, this is where I feel like Martel might be setting himself up for failure, because if he goes through with this appeals process and he goes through a jury trial and witnesses are called, I can see Coleslaw being called to the stand. I can see Carson Blue being subpoenaed as well. I can see phone records for Coleslaw being subpoenaed, in the sense that she was heard on phone calls with a blogger stating that she has the video and that she has shared it with friends and family. So I can see all those things happening. I can also see That Scott brother who said that he saw the text, and if he saw the text along with the attached image, that in and of itself is sharing of Melody's intimate image. So Martel, in my opinion, in just not just taking the conviction for what it is, spending his 12 months on probation, he's opening up a can of worms. And if they do a forensic audit of Martel's phone, Orion's phone, and it's proven that this video was shared with other people, then now he's on the hook for revenge P. Because at this point, he's just on the hook for threatening to release it. But if it's found out that he actually shared it, then that's releasing revenge P. So I don't think that he understands the can of worms that he would be opening with a jury trial. But I'll continue. Hello, Mary White, and hello to everybody else that's in the chat. I'm reading, so I'm not looking at the chat, so please forgive me. I have manners, I promise. All right, where was I? The defendant's attorney may call witnesses who can provide testimony or evidence that supports the defendant's position and challenges the allegations made by the prosecution. The allegations that he did admit that he sent that threat, right? These witnesses could include individuals who were present during the incidents in question, friends or family members who can testify to the defendant's character, or experts, as in forensic auditors, who can provide relevant analysis or opinions. Similarly, the prosecutor can call witnesses who can testify about the alleged incident of DV, the threat to release the revenge P, or any other evidence that supports the charges. These witnesses may include the victim, law enforcement officers who investigated the case, or any other individual who may have relevant information. So as I said, he's opening up a can of worms that I don't think that he even understands. It's important to note that the decision to call witnesses is based on the specific circumstances of the case and the legal strategies employed by each party. There may be instances where the available evidence is deemed sufficient and calling witnesses may not be necessary. So guys, remember, the reason why he was arrested in the first place is because the evidence Melody presented was deemed as sufficient, right? Ultimately, the decision rests with the defendant and the prosecutor, guided by the rules and procedures of the court. Again, here is my disclaimer, because my friend said, keep putting your disclaimer in there that you are not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer, y'all. I just, as I said, read a lot. All right. Okay. So a lot of people might be wondering, okay, how will they co-parent? Now, from what Carlos King has said on one of his Messy Mondays, Melody and Martel, they currently co-parent through the courts. So when it comes to co-parenting, when a no contact order is placed and parents need to communicate about their children, there are several systems that can be used to facilitate communication while maintaining the boundaries set by the court. So here are some commonly used systems. 1, third-party communication. In this system, a neutral third party, such as a family member, friend, or a professional mediator, acts as a go-between for the parents. They can relay messages, coordinate schedules, and ensure that important information is shared between the parents without direct contact. 2, parenting apps. There are various smartphone applications designed specifically for co-parenting communication. These apps provide a secure platform for parents to exchange messages, share calendars, and upload important documents related to their children's um, schedules, medical information, and school activities. Some popular examples that are used within the whole family court system includes the Our Family Wizard, Co-Parenter, and Talking Parents. 3, email or text message monitoring. In certain cases, the court may require that all communication between the parents be conducted through monitored channels such as email and text messaging platforms. This allows for a record of the communication to be maintained and reviewed if necessary. In family court, you also have parenting coordinators. A parenting coordinator is a trained professional who assists parents in high conflict situations with decision making and communication regarding their children. They can help the parents establish effective communication methods and facilitate problem solving. 5, court-appointed supervised visitation centers. In situations where there are safety concerns or a high level of conflict, the court may require that all parent-child interactions occur at a supervised visitation center. These centers provide a controlled environment where trained staff members supervise the visitation and ensure the safety of everyone involved. So, in conclusion, I told someone on Twitter the other day who basically told me that Martel wasn't going to be convicted, right? I told this person last week that based on Alabama law, Martel may probably escape with just a slap on the wrist or just a fine, which technically this is a slap on the wrist and he also did get a fine, right? And I feel, in my opinion, I feel like his conviction is, if it's not overturned through this appeal process that he started, it sets a good precedent that you can't use intimate images or videos taken or recorded during a previous relationship to harass or blackmail or manipulate an ex-partner or spouse, because that in and of itself is abusive. It is wrong. It is illegal in many states. And anyone facing these threats should not take the threat lightly and should report the threat to protect yourself from the possibility that the person might just go through with the threat. Now, when it comes to OWN and Kingdom Reign Entertainment, they need to take into consideration their audience being predominantly women. And some women who are watching this show, they have experienced harassment and similar DV situations. In my opinion, Martel should no longer be employed under OWN's banner. And if Carlos won't fire Martel from the show, then OWN should take a stand and say, we cannot, and our sponsors cannot be affiliated with any production company or show giving a man convicted of DV at any level a platform on our network. And if they haven't completed filming for the season, it really should be a wrap for Martel at this point. And of course, if they're completely done with filming the season, he should not be given the opportunity to be at that reunion in person, since of course there is a no contact order in place. I feel sad for the children because on one hand, their dad is teaching his girls that you can't trust the person that you believe that you're deeply in love with, because maybe one day when mad day comes, they will use whatever images that you've created in the privacy of your home against you, to manipulate you, to harass you, to emotionally, psychologically abuse you. And he's teaching his son that it's okay to make these kinds of threats. But thank God for Melody, who is teaching her daughters that they can stand up for themselves and that they can utilize the law to stand up for themselves. And she's teaching her son that this is not the way you operate if and when your relationships should ever come to an end. Now, let me read some of your comments before I log off. Yeah, 41 fit. He's not thinking. I honestly believe that he feels like if he goes to trial, then it's going to make a difference in his conviction. I don't think that he feels like it's probably going to make it worse and that this is the best outcome for him. I don't think that he believes that. Mary White says he's a big dummy. He is opening a can of worms for him and the cast because they all saw the RP. And in my opinion, I believe that they all saw it. I will never, ever, ever forget Destiny on that one reunion saying that she knows where all of Mel's bodies are buried and that she can tell all of Mel's truth. And it's like, there's a part of me that feels like what she was talking about was that tape. And then remember Maurice jumping in like, don't do it, Destiny, don't do it. So a part of me feels like that's what they were talking about. And even when they were talking about Miss Van and this alleged tape that's out there or whatever, I don't think they even understood that what they were saying is an admission that they're circulating someone's alleged intimate images or videos that they haven't given consent to be shared. I don't think that they understood that. And Miss Van has denied that there's any tapes of her out there. So I feel like what they were probably talking about was the tape of Melody. Rod Daniel says he will blackmail the cast to say what he wants. Well, if they want to go and lie under oath, then they can go do that and see what happens. And Mary White responded to you, Rod, and she shares my sentiments. They can't lie in court. Plus, there's discovery. They all are in trouble if he distributed the tape to them or shots to them. And even if he just, handed them his phone and said, look at this, he is guilty of disseminating her private intimate images that she did not give him consent to do. So even just holding his phone and looking at it, if they go in court and say, well, yes, I saw it, that lands Martel in some hot water. Jenny Moore says guilty of what exactly? I don't know what you're asking. God's Child says, I don't see how he wins on appeal after a conviction. I don't think he'll go to a jury trial. I don't think that it's going to go to a jury trial either. Because the court's not trying to waste taxpayers' money. He was already arrested because the evidence that Melody provided was sufficient for the warrant to be issued. So, I mean, I don't see him winning, even if he goes to a jury trial. They will use discernment and Melody will teach them better and her son to be a real man and not to make that mistake their dad has. Absolutely. And she's already teaching them that. So you know, thank God for her, and thank God that she is strong enough and brave enough to say, I am not going to stand here and hope that he doesn't go through with this threat. His baby mama is out here saying that she has my video and that she's sharing it with people and that she can send it to people. Yeah, Melody did the right thing in going down to that police station and filing that report. And I think that she has given a lot of women who are in this same position, who are fearful, who might think that, nothing's going to happen to this guy if I go and say he's threatened to release my images. I feel like she's given a lot of women the strength to just go and file their report. Miss Linda says, Martel needs to let it go. Absolutely, because the whole cast is going to be subpoenaed, and they will. They will. The prosecutor is going to subpoena every last one of them. And if they have seen it, they have to state that on the stand. And if they lie and it's discovered that they lied, then that's perjury, and that's also a crime. So I don't know what to tell them. Their friend, the good guy, he's a good guy, has just, in my opinion, landed all of them in hot water. Even Kingdom Reign Entertainment too, I think, because Carlos said on Messy Mondays that Martel showed the producers the text messages and there was an image attached to the message. So I'm wondering if the producers saw Melody's image in that text message. And if they did, then that's a problem. That's a problem. And as I said, Carlos said this on Messy Mondays. I don't think I'm wrong, because I watched that first episode, Messy Mondays, where he said Martel showed the producers the text messages and there was indeed an image attached to it. All right, y'all. So I just wanted to come on live and give y'all that rundown real quick. And that's how I see it. Thank y'all for tuning in. And please drop in the comments below and leave a comment. Tell me how you see things too. Please remember to, where is the thing? Where do I go back to finding this? Please remember to like this video, share the link to my channel if you feel like my content needs some more crowd. And guys, if you're not Jamaican, then maybe you don't understand why I always say that, right? But in Jamaica, when something is exciting or when some drama is happening, there's a thing that we say and we're like, this need crowd. So that is why I always say that. So if you feel like my content needs some more crowd, if you feel like this need crowd, then please share the link to this video or any of the other videos that you love and you feel like other people need to watch. Subscribe if you have not done so as yet. And follow me at How I See It on Instagram, Twitter now called X, and on TikTok. And as I always say at the end of my videos, walk good. Bye. Have a good night, y'all.